For the record time, the topic today is trust. Trust is something well known as one of the hardest things ever to obtain, while simultaneously also being one of the easiest things to lose. Trust is hard to gain because a lot of people have trust issues. A lot of people will betray and backstab other people. They'll break a person's trust, and there's so many forms of trust. Romantic trust between a couple, and cheating and lying. Between friendships, people lie, betray, backstab, use people. It's a huge thing. A lot of people suffer from trust issues. They lose the ability to trust other people because they themselves were backstabbed too many times by an ex-partner or a friend. And more times, very often, those people have a hard time ever trusting again. They go through the rest of their lives without ever trusting anybody again. And because of this, they end up alone or whatever. Of course, anybody has the ability to regain their trust in other people. But it's very difficult because you put up a self-defense. You protect yourself from it ever happening again. And the first point I want people to know is, let's take relationships for an example. Let's say you were cheated on. Yes, you can be cheated on again. Anybody can. But if you block out yourself from everybody, then yes, you are protecting yourself from ever being hurt again, but you are also preventing anything good from ever happening. So because of that, it's bad to stay overly protected, especially for the rest of your life. But you may ask, how do I do that? How can I possibly let down that barrier? Well, one thing I can assure you of is that as you get older, you will learn certain things about people. One key aspect is learning how to read people. Learning which people are in fact trustworthy. You'll be able to see it in people better, because if somebody just tells you, oh, I'm trustworthy, there's no reason to really believe that. They have to prove it to you. And that's the key aspect here. You don't want to feel vulnerable. You're putting up this self-defense because you need to feel strong. But how do you break down the barrier? You can. But it doesn't rely on you. I'm not saying push your problems on other people, but trust issues are very damaging, so people have to help you out. And if a potential friend or partner really cares about you as a person, then they're going to be willing to try anyway. So you don't really need to feel like you're using that person or pushing blame on them, because anybody will be willing to help you out as long as they understand your problem. And if they don't understand or care, then chances are they're not trustworthy anyway. Chances are if you meet a new person, you'll be closed off. You'll be keeping your conversations and the information you give them about yourself to a minimum. You might tell them where you work, a couple of your hobbies, blah, blah, small talk. But you won't really tell them, about your past, insecurities, family issues, etc. It's your job to tell the person, and of course you don't say it blatantly, but let them know over time or whatever, that the reason you feel closed off, or if they ask you a question, you go, I don't want to answer that. If they go, how many boyfriends have you had, or how many girlfriends have you had, or whatever, and if you say, I don't want to answer, tell them that you've been hurt before, and you're afraid to trust again. Most people who care will understand that. The people who don't understand it are the ones you're not supposed to trust anyway. So again, no problem. Try not to get angry with people either. I know that people with trust issues will get angry because they fear that the insecurity is coming up and it's going to happen again. And they can explode on a person who doesn't even deserve it. And that's something that, if you're the person with the trust, you need to work on. And again, it'll happen over time. You can't just change that within a couple of days. As you get a little bit older, wiser, etc., you'll learn to deal with it and learn to cope with it. But what about the person that you want to trust, this new friend or potential partner? How do you trust them? Well, like I said, the people who don't care to try are not trustworthy at all to begin with, so you don't need to bother with them. You don't need to feel sad that another person doesn't want to care. But a lot of people do care, and the ones that care are the ones you need to confide in. And those people will work for it, I promise you, because that's why they care. They can say, oh, that's okay, we can work on our potential relationship or whatever and talk about things further down. One thing I let people know who have trust issues, as I even tell them, I actually tell the person not to believe me. I'm an honest person, but I tell them not to believe me. Because it helps them out with their insecurities. It allows them to take their time. Another way is the person can show their own insecurities and vulnerability. If they do that, it allows them to connect with you, and you'll feel connected with them, and therefore you feel a lot more ease with them. And you can grow a trustful relationship. And there's many methods, okay? And anybody's able to do it who has trust issues. But trust issues are not something to feel ashamed of. You will feel insecure, but it's not something to be insecure about. It's normal for people who have been burned too many times. But I promise you, if you try, and really take your time, you don't need to trust immediately after being cheated on or used. It can take years. But one thing I can tell you is do not close yourself off permanently. Because despite the fact that you will block yourself off from any more potential hurt, you'll also block yourself off from any potential good things. Try and connect with people. Let them connect with you. Let them reveal their vulnerability. Let them reveal their words and their own insecurities. And usually if they reveal that, then obviously they know that they're trustworthy. And you can take that as trust yourself. Because a person who's not trustworthy is not going to reveal that. And like I said, as you get older, you'll also learn to read people, and if they're telling the truth. This is something that comes with age, but I can also help you out with these tips if you don't know them or if you're younger. The most important thing out of all this is to not block yourself off permanently, because as I said, you block yourself off from any bad happening ever again, but also any good, potential great friends, helpful, caring, loving, supportive friends, or a happy, loving, strong relationship.